Since we were kids, we've been fed the same story, that life is a battle, that nothing comes without struggle, that to succeed we have to grind, hustle, and force our way through. But what if that story was a lie? What if real power didn't come from effort, but from the absence of effort? We live in a world that glorifies being busy, the packed calendar, the performance, the constant productivity. We've been taught to believe the more we do, the more we're worth. But what if this obsession with doing, always more, always faster, is actually cutting us off from something far more essential? What if the answer wasn't doing more, but doing less with greater precision? Today we're diving into the radical wisdom of Lao Tzu, ancient Chinese philosopher and sage of the Tao. Over 2,500 years ago, he introduced a principle that still confuses the modern mind: Wu Wei, the art of action without forcing. A simple idea on the surface, but when you truly get it, it can shift your entire way of living, working, even being. In this video, you'll discover why less effort can lead to greater impact, how to flow with reality instead of fighting it, and why letting go isn't weakness, it's deep strength. If this message speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This is a brand new project and every bit of support truly makes a difference. Let's begin, because maybe the real power lies in not forcing. Part 1. Lao Tzu and the Tao, living with the flow. Picture this. An old man with a calm gaze slowly climbs a mountain path. He's alone. He owns almost nothing, just an old ox, a weathered coat, and a vast, quiet mind. The year is somewhere around the 6th century BCE. China is in chaos. Kingdoms are tearing each other apart. Ambition, war, and corruption have infected the hearts of men. And him? He walks away. Away from the noise, the power, the expectations. But before disappearing into silence, someone stops him, asks him to leave behind a final piece of wisdom. So he picks up a brush, and he writes 5,000 characters. A short book, dense, poetic, mysterious. A book now known as the Tao Te Ching. That old man was Lao Tzu. A tiny book with an infinite impact. The Tao Te Ching isn't a manual. It's not a doctrine, not a list of rules. It's a guide, a riddle, a quiet compass for a noisy world. It doesn't preach. It suggests. It points, but never forces. It speaks of nature, leadership, emptiness, balance, wisdom. But above all, it speaks of one essential thing: the Tao. What is the Tao? You could study it for 100 lifetimes and still never fully grasp it. But here's one way to begin. The Tao is the deep flow of reality. What the Greeks called the Logos, what Jung called the collective unconscious, what some modern physicists call the field or the implicit order. It's the invisible rhythm behind all things, the silent dance of existence, the unseen force that makes trees grow, tides return, children evolve, the natural order of things. You can't see it, but you can feel it. A central metaphor: water. Lao Tzu returns again and again to one image: water. The Tao is like water. It nourishes all things without trying. Water doesn't struggle. It doesn't resist. It flows, adapts, shapes itself to whatever holds it. It wears down rock not through violence, but through quiet persistence. It's soft, yet unstoppable, humble, yet essential. And to Lao Tzu, This is true wisdom. Not to fight the current, but to move with it. The Tao is the art of aligning with reality. In the modern world, we glorify resistance, control, domination. We're taught to bend the world to our will, to push harder, grind more. But Lao Tzu flips the question. What if power isn't about control, but about harmony? What if the strongest person isn't the one who forces, but the one who flows? What if life isn't a fight, but a kind of music you can learn to move with? The Tao is not passivity. Let's be clear. Following the Tao isn't about doing nothing. It's not laziness. It's not indifference. It's about effortless action, clarity without tension, living in alignment with what is, instead of constantly resisting what isn't. And that brings us to one of the Tao's most misunderstood ideas. Wu Wei, the art of non-forcing. That's what we'll explore in the next part. Have you ever felt that rare moment where everything just clicks? Where life feels fluid, natural, effortless? Share that moment in the comments. A time when you followed your intuition and everything just fell into place. Because maybe that was the Tao speaking to you. And if this idea of living with the flow resonates with you, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss the rest of this journey. Because the Tao isn't just ancient wisdom, it's an invitation to live differently right now. Part 2. Wu Wei, the art of effortless action. You want to change your life. You want to grow, build, succeed. So you push harder, grind more. But the more you force it, the more it resists. You burn out. You get stuck. And the question is, what if the effort is the very thing holding you back? Wu Wei, doing without forcing. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu introduces a radical idea, Wu Wei, often translated as non-doing or effortless action. But let's be clear, it's not laziness, it's not passivity, it's not about giving up or running away from life. It's much more subtle. Wu Wei is about moving without friction, acting, but without tension. It's natural, spontaneous, aligned action that flows from deep within. Key quote, "By doing less, we accomplish more." Lao Tzu. Sounds paradoxical, right? But look around. A bamboo bends in the wind and survives the storm. Water flows downhill and carves through stone. A cat doesn't chase the mouse frantically. It watches, waits, then strikes. One single precise move at exactly the right time. That's Wu Wei, the invisible intelligence that doesn't rush, doesn't waste, doesn't force. It waits for the right moment and moves with clarity. Real-life examples. A pianist in flow. She's not thinking about the keys anymore. Her hands move on their own. She becomes the music. The effort disappears, but the expression deepens. A judo master. He doesn't resist force, he redirects it. He uses the opponent's energy against them. No brute strength, just timing, presence, and fluidity. A great leader. He doesn't micromanage. He sets the vision, then steps back. He lets people rise, create, lead. And that's when the team truly shines. You've probably felt it too. That rare moment when everything just flows. You speak the right words, make the right moves, without overthinking. Nothing's forced, nothing's blocked. That's Wu Wei in action. Carl Jung once said, "You don't need to push the river. It flows by itself." Simple, but powerful. And honestly, it could have been written by Lao Tzu himself, 2,500 years earlier. Because that's exactly what Wu Wei is about. Not pushing the river, not trying to force life to go where it doesn't want to, but learning to listen, to align, and to collaborate with the natural flow instead of resisting it. That's where we tap into something bigger than ourselves, a natural intelligence, spontaneous, creative, alive. Call it the Tao, call it the unconscious, call it life itself moving through you. And if that resonates with you, if this idea of letting go to move more deeply into your own truth speaks to you, you'll love my video on Carl Jung. He was one of the great minds of the 20th century, and like Lao Tzu, he invites us to reconnect with the hidden depths inside us, to understand ourselves and walk through the world with more clarity, more meaning, more soul. The link is in the description or right here on screen. Watch it after this one. It's the perfect next step. Wu Wei doesn't equal doing nothing. Wu Wei isn't about avoiding life. It's not apathy, it's not withdrawal. It's being fully engaged, but with precision, not exhaustion. Not doing nothing, but doing what matters when it matters, and letting the rest go. Imagine this. You live, work, love, but without forcing, without burning out, without swimming upstream all the time. That's the essence of the Tao. Now I want to ask you, have you ever had a moment where things just unfolded on their own? Where life moved through you effortlessly and everything aligned? Drop it in the comments. These moments are not accidents. They're invitations to trust more and force less. If this resonates with you, share this with someone who needs to stop grinding and start flowing. Because sometimes the biggest breakthrough comes not from pushing harder, but from getting out of your own way. Part 3. Why is it so hard for us? You know, Wu Wei isn't just some poetic idea for monks or sages from another era. It's an invitation to live differently, right here, right now. But here's the thing. Why is it so hard for us today? Why do we struggle so much to let go? Why does this simple principle of non-action sometimes feel almost dangerous? A culture that glorifies control. We live in a society that teaches us from childhood that willpower is king. Want to succeed? You have to push hard. Want respect? You have to dominate. Want to get ahead? You have to fight, persevere, never give up. Control is seen as a virtue. Letting go is seen as a weakness. The result? Everything depends on ego, strategy, force, pressure. And we're proud of that. Productivity, performance, optimization, grinding. But at what cost? A system that exhausts us. This model wears us down. Physically, emotionally, deep inside. Brilliant, sensitive, curious people, burning out. Coaches preaching discipline like a religion, turning life into an endless race to become a better version of ourselves. Even self-help becomes another source of pressure. We no longer allow ourselves to just be. We always want to become, move forward, conquer. But by trying to control everything, we lose touch with what's alive. He who tries to control everything loses everything. He who lets go has everything. Tao Te Ching. This isn't just a pretty metaphor, it's a warning. The more you push, the less it works. You've probably felt this. The harder you try to control a relationship, the more it slips away. The more you force an idea to come out, the more it gets stuck. The more you try to calm your mind, the more restless it becomes. The paradox is this: life's intelligence doesn't respond to force. It responds to listening, to openness, to inner calm. And sometimes Everything shifts when you simply stop trying. True luxury is calm. Today, in a world flooded with noise, speed, and tension, true luxury isn't power or recognition anymore. True luxury is inner peace. It's waking up one morning without your mind racing 1,000 miles an hour. It's having a space where you don't have to prove anything, where you can just be present, alive, aligned. And that's exactly what Lao Tzu offers. Silent wisdom, a return to the source. No dogma, no performance, just a different way of walking through the world. So here's a simple, maybe uncomfortable question. What are you trying to force in your life right now? A relationship, a project, an image of yourself you're desperate to maintain. What if you paused, just to feel what life is trying to tell you beneath the noise? Maybe the answer won't come from pushing harder, but from radical letting go. If what you heard speaks to you, like this video. It helps me create deeper content in a world that's moving too fast. Tell me in the comments, what area of your life feels most tense or controlled right now? Naming it is already a step toward freedom. And if you want to go deeper into this journey of letting go, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell, because together we're moving toward a life that's calmer, more conscious, more grounded. Part 4. How can we apply Wu Wei in modern life? You can read every book on wisdom ever written, but if you can't live even just one idea from them in your actual day, what's the point? Wu Wei isn't just poetic or philosophical, it's meant to be lived. And the real challenge today isn't understanding it, it's learning how to live differently in a world that constantly pulls us away from the Tao. So how do we do that, practically speaking? How do we bring this ancient wisdom into our inbox, our relationships, our overwhelmed calendars? Let me share with you 3 simple yet powerful shifts. A. Pause before you act. The first one is almost a lost instinct. Don't react right away. You get a rude email? Pause. Someone interrupts you? Pause. You feel anxiety, anger, the urge to do something? Pause. Breathe. Observe. The sage watches the world without needing to fix it. He sees clearly because he is undisturbed. That's from the Tao Te Ching. Wu Wei begins in that tiny space between stimulus and response. That's your window. Not to do nothing, but to choose the right action instead of reacting on autopilot. Try this today. Next time something pushes you to act fast, hit pause. Just observe, feel. Let intuition rise instead of impulse. B. Cut the excess. The Tao isn't something you add to your life, it's something you uncover. Like a sculpture, you reveal the form by removing what doesn't belong. To receive the Tao, you must first empty yourself. Make space to allow it in. From the Tao Te Ching. Today, our lives are overflowing with stuff, with thoughts, with notifications, with side projects. We crave peace, but let everything in. We seek flow, but cling to everything. Sometimes, practicing Wu Wei simply means saying no, letting go, simplifying, clearing space to become available again. Try this week. Remove 3 non-essential things from your day: notifications, meetings, clutter. Block out 30 minutes of emptiness in your calendar. No goal, no phone. Then notice what you feel in that silence. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but behind that stillness, something starts to awaken. C. Move with the rhythm of reality. This one's subtle but crucial. Stop trying to control the timing. Learn to listen to it. Nature doesn't force anything. The seasons unfold slowly. A flower blooms when the conditions are right, not when we tell it to. But us, we try to push our projects through sheer willpower. We try to force love, creativity, inner peace like they're items on a to-do list. It doesn't work like that. Wu Wei is about sensing the right moment, the right move, the right silence. And sometimes what you call procrastination is just the Tao not yet inviting you to act. The sage rushes nothing, yet everything is accomplished. Let me give you a quick example. Adapt or personalize this. There was a time I kept forcing a decision in my work life. I gave it everything, focus, energy, but nothing moved. Eventually, I let go. I accepted not knowing. And a week later, an unexpected synchronicity opened the door. No forcing, just alignment. The courage to let go. Wu Wei doesn't mean being passive. It's not about laziness or indifference. It's about having the courage to align with the flow, even when your ego wants control. And in a world obsessed with pushing harder, choosing flow is a radical act. Tell me in the comments, what's one simple action you could take this week to practice Wu Wei in your own life? And if you want to go deeper into this inner movement, I highly recommend watching my video on Carl Jung. In his own way, Jung teaches the same fundamental lesson. Descend into yourself. Listen to what wants to emerge instead of forcing what you think you want. You'll find the link below. Part 5. What Lao Tzu is really telling us. If you forget everything else from this video and remember just one thing from Lao Tzu, let it be this. Wu Wei is not a technique. It's a way of being, a relationship to the world. Not a life hack, not a trick for achieving goals effortlessly, but a way of inhabiting reality without tension, without resistance, without violence. The master acts without doing, teaches without speaking. Things arise and she lets them come. She creates but does not claim. She acts but does not cling. She succeeds but does not boast. Tao Te Ching, Chapter 2. Lao Tzu isn't telling you to run away from the world. He's not advocating passivity. He's showing you that right action doesn't come from a clenched mind, but from a clear spirit and a soft heart. Letting go, the highest form of intelligence. In today's world, letting go is often seen as weakness, as giving up, as lack of ambition. But in the Tao, it's the opposite. Real power is the ability to not hold on, to not fight life, even when it's hard. To stop trying to bend the universe to your will, and instead to position yourself in the right place, at the right rhythm, with the right inner posture. That's where things align. That's where synchronicities happen. That's where peace returns. The great paradox of the Tao. The more you try to control, the more you lose what really matters. The moment you allow things to be, everything begins to align. That's the paradox. In letting go of control, you gain a far deeper kind of power. The power to dance with the world instead of fighting against it. One last thought to meditate on. The master doesn't strive, yet she shines. She doesn't persuade, yet hearts open. She doesn't act, yet all is accomplished. Tao Te Ching, Chapter 2. You can close this video like closing a book, or you can choose to walk through the world differently, with less tension, less fear, less need for control, and with more trust, more stillness, more Tao. If this video brought you clarity, comment below, what belief are you ready to let go of? And share it with someone who's been pushing too hard when maybe, just maybe, it's time to let go. And if these reflections speak to you, don't miss my video on Carl Jung. He asked a simple but powerful question. What if you're not the one guiding your life, but your life is guiding you back to yourself? The link is right below. Conclusion. What if you stopped forcing things? You can spend your life pushing, pulling, chasing, trying to become what you think you're supposed to be. Controlling everything, planning, optimizing, hustling. Or you could pause, sit down, breathe, and feel something simple, something ancient. Life doesn't need your effort to unfold. It already knows how. Lao Tzu isn't asking you to escape the world. He's inviting you to feel it differently, to stop pushing on the door, and notice that it opens when you gently pull. Wu Wei isn't a slogan. It's not a productivity hack or some mystical flow state. It's a quiet kind of presence, a radical openness, the courage to simply be here, without the mask, without the grip, and to let life move on its own terms. Maybe your next step won't come from a plan, but from a moment of deep listening. Maybe your greatest breakthrough is the moment you stop struggling, a gentle invitation to inner transformation. What if you made space in your life, not to fill it with more, but to see what's already there beneath the noise? The Tao begins where your will stops. Let it in. Observe. Feel. Breathe. And watch what happens. If this message resonated with you, like this video, it really helps new viewers find the channel. Subscribe if you want more timeless wisdom applied to real life. Hit the bell or you might miss what's coming next. And most importantly, comment below. Where in your life could you practice Wu Wei? What's one thing you could stop forcing starting now? And if someone close to you is burning out, exhausted from trying to control everything, send them this video. It might be the sign they didn't know they needed. And if you want to go deeper on this path, don't miss my video on Carl Jung. It'll help you understand what part of you is resisting the letting go. The link is below.